Hey guys, Trap John coming at you with another Diablo 4 video. Okay, on this one, we're gonna just say it and throw it out there. This video is going to be the mistakes I've made in Diablo 4, what I would take back, what I would redo again because it helped me learn, and overall in general, what would I recommend a new player to do? Okay, so first things first, there were a lot of things that I kind of had to learn and go through and do when it came to Diablo 4 because I wasn't really sure what I was doing a lot of the times, right? We were just starting out. I was hoping that it was going to be very similar to D3, so that way I knew how to play it, and it does have that same similar like vibe. However, a few things that I kind of noticed that I haven't really been taking fully advantage of that I really should have been doing this entire time is definitely getting to impact the fact of the way my build currently is. Now, if we go over here to the occultist, for example, this aspect area is one of the major things in Diablo 4 that makes the biggest impact. One of the things that I did starting out and not really paying attention was the simple fact that I went and I rushed the campaign all the way through to the end. I did that. I kind of did some side grinds a little bit here and there. I didn't get too distracted. However, I leveled too high by the time I got to my World Tier 3 boss. I was like, what, Paragon? Or no, sorry, not what Paragon. I was level 43, I think, when I did my Capstone Dungeon, my first one. And it's honestly a little high. I could have done it a lot lower had I not made this simple mistake of not go ahead and focusing on getting my aspects that I needed for my build. And to do this is pretty simple. You want to go ahead and you want to run around, do advanced, do everything. Spend your obols at the beginning just for aspects so you can get them, and make sure that you are selling the gear that you're getting, and also salvaging it at the same time, so that way you can do these extracts, right? So let's say if I wanted to do this, notice that it's going to cost me 177,000 gold. If I want to imprint this, it's going to cost me quite a bit of gold. On top of it's going to cost me 5 other resources that I won't get unless I salvage gear. So notice that the cost barrier is high. But had I gotten a lot of the legendaries from the beginning, what I could be doing and what I'm doing now is simply I have all the legendaries that I need. I have the aspects. So if I get a new piece of gear, right? Let's say I get a new piece of gear and I wanted to go ahead and go, okay, well, you know what? I want to imprint this. I can't, right? Now, obviously, as you can see here, I've already done this methodology. You cannot extract from items with imprinted aspects, as it says here, so you can only imprint them one time, right? And that can be a little hurtful sometimes, but overall in general, because I found them once and I went ahead and took them all, right? And then I keep making doubles of all of these, so that way I have them. It allows me to re-roll them, allows me to reprint them, and that way I can take that and keep redoing my build, right? Get a good feel of it, move forward. Eventually another one will drop, take note of it, extract it, bada bing, bada boom. Upgrade your yellows into legendaries. It makes a big difference. Don't just see a legendary and go, oh, that one's better, or oh man, it's a lower stat. I'm just gonna I'm still gonna use it or something because it's imprinted. No, extract it. Go over and go ahead and modify a yellow, turn it into a legendary that way, and that way you get higher stats, right? That's definitely one of the other big mistakes that I didn't do, is because I did see where I was like, oh, it was shiny. This dagger dropped. I picked it up. Okay, cool. Well, that was lower stats. I'm gonna go ahead and equip it because I really want that ability. No, don't do that. Just go simply grab it, take it over here, extract it, and then imprint it on another piece of gear. It's going to help you out tremendously overall. Another thing to take note of is you can go ahead and enchanted items. What does this mean? This means that you can take a piece of gear here and notice that these stats and are all different, and I can select them. So what can happen is I can pick 92 dexterity, spend the gold, use the resources. I'm not going to do it because it's kind of a waste. Forgotten Souls and Fiend Roses are kind of rare to get, honestly, so I don't want to waste them. But I can enchant that, and that would reroll that stat. This would then allow me to get a next stat that could be better, it could be worse, it's randomized. On top of that, each time you do this, it's going to go up in cost. But that's really helpful, especially if, let's say, you're just starting out on a build and you're like, okay, well, I really don't need like a trap or whatever. Let's just re-roll this one really quick, right? So to re-roll the one that you really need or that you don't need at all, see if that helps you out. See if it gives you that little bit of a boost, because at the end of the day, even though yes, I am going to try to stockpile these, you can get more. Okay, you can always get more, and a lot of times getting your stats high enough to do damage, it makes a big difference. Also, another common misconception that a lot of people told me from the beginning that I want to make sure that, and I made the mistake of paying attention to, was the attack power. I was told that, you know, your attack power should be for whatever your level is, 1,000. So I'm level 57 right now. I should be at like 5,700 attack. I'm not, and that's okay because I'm using imbuement for a lot of damage. Don't get sucked into that. Don't think that, oh man, my attack is so low, I gotta get all these better ones. It's okay to be tanky and go slow. Sometimes that can be more beneficial to your build and for your progress. So don't fall prey to the standard, oh man, this is gonna be terrible if I don't have an attack power high enough. You may still do a lot of damage, especially if you're using some sort of imbuement skill or trap skill or wherever the case may be. Okay. The next thing, and we won't go into sigils or any of that yet because we're talking about the biggest mistakes that I made. And the next biggest thing I can say is, well, I am level 57 and my Paragon board is doo-doo. I'm on my first Paragon board. I'm about to unlock my next one. I will probably get that unlocked right after making this video, because I'm going to get right into streaming and grinding. Stream on Twitch. If you want to go follow me, go watch me. But as you can see here, I didn't prioritize this correctly. The first time through here, I didn't pay attention. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna click buttons and go. Well, I didn't realize how much damage I could get off of my glyph socket here by heading in my 40 dex here and everything else there. I didn't pay attention that, oh yeah, if I come this side and I make sure to stack my intelligence and my everything else, I get an additional, even more damage, right? So notice this went up to 20% damage, plus 2.6 physical right there, because we have the intelligence labeled right there. And over here, you can see that once again, same type of deal, right? And that's because we hit their milestone requirements. Definitely keep that in mind because you want to make sure that you get these. Notice also that you can see for every dex spot I grab, I'm going to go up in physical damage. Notice it's at 10.6 here. It's huge. Pay attention. Do not just start clicking in here and go, yep, I just want to get this one skill. Pay attention to the whole picture. Sometimes it makes sense not to go ahead and span all of your boards at once and focus on getting the one board done that's going to give you the damage modifiers that you need to then progress into the next board. At the end of the day, that's what really matters, is go ahead and gain that progression and enjoying it. The next thing I want to talk about is going to be builds. Now, when we talk about builds, notice that when I hit S here, these are the skills that I have available and what I'm using currently. Nothing too extravagant, but I made my own build, okay? I'm not trying to use the meta build. I'm just trying to make my own build that I enjoy, that's good for my playstyle. And that's what I'm getting at. The biggest mistake that I made starting out at first was my good friend Veiled Shot. He's a brilliant content creator, very good strategy guy. He gave me a build guide, and me being a very similar content creator, like-minded, I'm like, okay, I'll just take your build guide and we'll go with it. Well, there was a few problems with that. One, he handed it to me, and at first I didn't know how to play it. So if you don't know how to play a build, is the build guide any good for you? It isn't. So definitely keep that in mind. When you're going to go ahead and start Diablo 4 and you're going to look for build guides, pay attention to the build guide. Does the build guide break down how to use the skills? What's the skill order? When to prioritize using certain things? How to maneuver? Should you be doing mobs? No mobs? Is 1 elite, 2 elites, 4 elites fine, right? Like, is this squishy in this certain aspects? Make sure that kind of information is covered in your build guide that you're going to use, so that way you, the player, can go ahead and do what you want to do to enjoy it, right? Because you may not enjoy the build to begin with. On top of, if you don't know exactly how it works and how it flows and functions, is the build guide going to be any good for you? Is your character going to be any good for you? I can honestly say I'm not a trapper. I don't enjoy doing trap builds. I've done a few of them in Path of Exile and was never a huge fan. I've already looked at doing one in Diablo 4, and I can't say that I'm necessarily going to enjoy it. And if it's meta right now, and a lot of people go, oh yeah, you need to be doing that. If I go to try to play it, if I don't know how to play it, and if it doesn't meet my play style, it doesn't do me a single bit of good. So definitely keep that in mind when you're going to go ahead and look at, hey, I'm going to do this build, or I'm going to play this character, or hey, I really like this content creator, they're putting up some major numbers. That's great, but definitely be cognizant of, you don't always have to do the same exact thing. Just enjoy the game, have fun. That's the point of it, right? Also, when we talk about other types of things that people may bring up, legendaries, different aspects, play around with them. Especially at the beginning, play around with them as much as you can to get used to the modifiers, see how they differentiate. Also, for example, this particular Boneweave Treads is not actually on the build guide GG right now, but I found it and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna keep that one because I really want that aspect. Now, also just be aware that it's okay if you don't have the right piece of gear on at first. It's not the end of the world. Don't feel like, oh, I can't equip that legendary because it doesn't have X, Y, Z. It's okay to use something else and get a little familiar with it just for practice, as well as if it's an upgrade, then utilize it. But also be cognizant of, even though if a piece of gear, let's say this one says 611 item power, it may not be the best in slot, right? Let's say we have another piece of gear that's level 500, but it has +2 to Twisting Blade. In my case, +2 to Twisting Blade is going to easily make up that additional 100 item power, even though it's going to look lower and weaker. However, getting that modifier of the skills, right? Like, so if I say, for example, had a +2 to Twisting Blade, in my case, that would put me at 9 out of 5, right? Because item contribution would go up. This means my damage would also go up. So definitely keep that in mind, because depending on how much damage you do and how much additional you're doing, it may be worth it to stack that particular skill that's your main damage dealer, so that way you can do even more and it'll scale so much higher than it would if you were just to leave that basic 100 item power higher on. So definitely be aware of that, be cognizant. And I think I actually have a piece of gear on my build. Let's see. I think I do have the one that has +2 twisting blades. You can get that on your pieces of gear. Be aware of that. Even right here, you see +2 ranks to Frigid Finesse passive. Unfortunately, I don't use that passive at all, so this is kind of a rip for me. But it's one of those things where if I was using it, it would modify it by 2. This can go. A lot of these modifiers can go up to +3. So definitely keep an eye out for those. They're definitely game changers, especially like so this arm here is +2 ranks of Twisting Blades, rogue only. Makes a massive difference in your build, makes you super strong, and it makes up for if I had let's say a lower item tier, if I could get those +2 Twisting Blades. Also, plus all stats is great. Always keep an eye out for that one. It's huge. I regret not really paying attention to my gear. Honestly, as I'm playing and grinding, all I did was go, okay, oh, it's higher, add it, use it, blah, 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 blah. Just moving through. Not necessarily something you need to do. To be quite honest, that was actually more hurtful than it was helpful, because I changed a lot of things. I gave up a few pieces of gear that I shouldn't have, right? I gave up a few aspects that I should have extracted, or I put them in my items inventory here, and I forgot that I put them in there, and I got rid of them. And so situations like that can lead to worse situations down the road. So definitely gonna be very aware and cognizant of, okay, what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. Also, gems are important. Make sure you get them, but it's not the end of the world. Do not spend, as a new player, to get extra sockets on your items. Don't do it, not until you get to World Tier 4. And the only reason why I say that is because once you get to World Tier 4, then you're going to start getting into end-game gear that you can level up and increase. Also, be very aware of your gold. Pick up everything. If you pick up everything, what that allows you to do is it allows you to spend your gold a lot more freely. And even though some of you may go, well, what do you need to spend your gold on? There's a lot of different things that you quickly have already probably figured out and seen. I've already shown at the beginning, aspects are not cheap. On top of that, let's go ahead and let's go upgrade a piece of gear here, because I do have one that I can upgrade here that I'm okay with, right? This pair of pants right here, we'll upgrade these. So notice that's 1,000, almost nothing. Notice that didn't cost a whole lot, and these Veiled Crystals I have a crap ton of. But notice to get up to level 5, I don't have a lot of these, right? I have a lot of coiling rewards. But it didn't cost me very much at all to upgrade these, and what that did for me is it gave me more stats, right? It gave me more stats and made my gear better. Same thing if I were to do this on all of them. Once again, it does not cost you a whole lot. You're talking about 5 grand, 6 grand, 14, 20 something right here, yeah. And I'm not gonna actually do that one because I don't want to waste these fragments here. But it's just one of those situations where go ahead and upgrade a little bit. It's fine. Upgrade a couple times and then go salvage it later. The gold that you waste for that extra additional damage, it's okay. It's a game. At the end of the day, you don't need to hoard everything. When seasons come out, you're not gonna keep all your gold from each season. So might as well get in the habit of spend all your resources, because if you're just going to hoard it, chances are you're never going to use it. All right, that's going to kind of do it for this video, and that was basically a lot of different things and kind of some other suggestions in the game. I think it's going to help a lot of players out there. If it helps you, please leave me a comment. Let me know. If I need to better explain a few of the topics, definitely say it down below. I'll cover it again. I have no problem making an additional video on it. But I just want to give you guys a high-level idea of, okay, well, these are some of the mistakes that I made that maybe you are making or have made yourself. Or if you're starting out, hopefully this helps you not make as many more mistakes or as many mistakes as I did and a lot of other players. All right, that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.